Hello everyone, this is TJ from Avidine. In the following short video we're going to be discussing some of the tips and tricks and some of the techniques we use for troubleshooting an IFD interface with an EFIS system. As always, none of the information covered in this video is FAA approved data, so use this for reference use only. For FAA approved data, please refer to the IFD installation manual. Make sure you're looking at the latest revision on that. Okay, so the first screen I want to talk about that will help explain a little bit and hopefully give you guys a little trick for troubleshooting here. When we're connected to an EFIS system, one of the screens we go look at a lot is on the aux page group. This is in normal flight mode. Go to the aux page group, go to the Utilities tab, and over here on the left you'll see a button labeled Calculators. Go ahead and hit that Calculators button. The very top calculator that pops up on this page is your air data calculator. Now, in the air data calculator, you can kind of use this to help troubleshoot as long as you understand kind of how it works. So, any of the information that's shown in green on this page is an indication that the IFD is receiving that data from some external source. So in this scenario, you can see that we've got altitude, we've got airspeed, we've got heading, and we've got OAT. They're all in green. So what that tells me is, if I've got a PFD connected to this thing, that it is spitting out good altitude data, good airspeed information, good heading, and good OAT info. If nothing in this box is populated in green, and you do have an EFIS system or a PFD connected to this thing, where we should definitely have some of this information, it's a pretty good indication that something's not communicating correctly. Okay? Now, there's another place that we can go, this time in maintenance mode. What we're going to do is boot the IFD in maintenance mode, and we're going to go over here to the Config tab, and then scroll through those config pages until you get to the main input configuration page. And just as it's shown here, you can actually monitor in real time your OAT, your heading information, baro altitude, density altitude, pressure altitude, wind direction if you've got something feeding that information in, selected course information, air temperature, indicated airspeed, true airspeed, all of that good stuff. You can monitor that real time on this page to make sure that we're receiving that data. Okay? Now, it's also important to remember, though, that not all PFD systems are going to send all of this information. So it's a good idea to kind of dig in and understand what ARINC 429 labels are being sent, what ARINC 429 labels we would be expecting to be receiving, so that you're not troubleshooting something that, maybe there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe that's just, that PFD doesn't send out density altitude or what have you. So, but if you know that there's a specific piece of data that you should be receiving, and you go to this page and you see that you're not receiving any of that, then it's a pretty good indication something's not communicating correctly. Oh, I skipped one. Sorry. Another screen that is useful in maintenance mode is our ARINC 429 data input monitor. Now, what this is this just monitors that the ARINC 429 ports coming in to the IFD. So we should be able to go here, and with a PFD or EFIS system turned on, powered on, we should see some data coming in on these ports, assuming they're the ones that are wired and configured. If you see errors on this page, it can usually be an indication that either our line speeds are incorrect, maybe we've got a low speed, high speed mismatch on that ARINC 429 data bus, or another thing that might be worth checking is your shielding on that twisted shielded pair. A lot of times EMI, electromagnetic interference, can start jumping into that line and create errors on those lines, so that's something else to look for if you see errors on that bus. One thing to be aware of is if we're monitoring our data port here and we're seeing data coming in on the words line, the one thing this page will not show us or tell us is if our A and B channels are crossed up. So if we've got our A and our B's twisted, This page will not show us that. The IFD is just monitoring raw data and saying yes, there's data there, or no, there's not. If you cross up the A and the B channel, there will still be raw data coming across those lines, and this page will not help you determine that. So keep that in mind. And just real fast, how to get there is we go into maintenance mode, we go over here to our status tab, and then over here you'll see a button labeled as info. Go ahead and cycle that info button until it says info A429, and that'll be your ARINC 429 data input monitor page. Another big help in troubleshooting these IFDs is demo mode. So one of the big things about demo mode with our IFD, if you put the thing in demo mode, the outputs will go active. So what that means is if I put the IFD in a demo mode and I go ahead and enter a flight plan and tell it to start flying that flight plan, the ARINC 429 outputs from the IFD to the EFIS system, those lines will go active. So I should see deviation data on my EFIS system. I should see flight plan information across to my MFD. I should see all of that stuff, just like we were flying the aircraft. All of that data should be coming out. A couple of things to keep in mind is that since the outputs are active, you want to pay real close attention to make sure that you've got your transponder breaker pulled before you boot the IFD into demo mode. Otherwise, ATC will not be much too happy with you because we will cause your transponder to report out as if you are out there in the pattern someplace, since most of us have a tendency to enter a flight plan close to home. So ATC will see you if your transponder is fired up, so make sure you pull that transponder breaker. So for those of you that aren't familiar with how to get into demo mode or how to do this, I'm gonna walk you through it. So the first thing you want to do is create a demo file. So what you'll do is just go to your computer, open Notepad, and write the word demo on the first line, just like you see here. And go ahead and hit File and scroll down and hit Save As. And you're going to get a dialog box like this. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this stuff. Go ahead and save that as demo.txt. Now once you have that on your thumb drive, saved as demo.txt, go ahead and open the thumb drive itself, right-click on the demo.txt file, and select rename. And this is an important step. If you don't do this, it won't work. What you want to do is you want to go in and rename it demo without the .txt on the end. You want to remove that file extension entirely. It's going to confuse Windows because your Windows PC does not know what to do with a file that does not have a file extension, but the IFD knows exactly what to do with it. So don't worry about it. It's not going to let you open it with your Windows computer. It's not going to know what to do with that file, and it's even going to give you this warning that pops up. It says, if you change the file extension, it might make it unusable. Well, it will make it unusable for Windows. However, that's how it needs to be for the IFD. So go ahead and once you get to that point, select yes. You still want to change it so that that file just says demo, no file extension. And once you've done that, you should see this on your thumb drive, just a file labeled demo with no file extension at all. Once you've done that, and it's got to be a blank thumb drive, by the way. So once you've done that, go ahead and throw that USB stick into the IFD and power it on, and it should boot you into demo mode. Okay? One last little disclaimer here about demo mode, just to try to help you guys remember and stay out of trouble, is if you have a functioning ADS-B transponder on your aircraft, if you do not pull the breaker on that transponder before entering demo mode, then there's a good chance that transponder is going to be connected to the IFD for a weight on wheels, pseudo weight on wheels. And we're going to trick the transponder into thinking that it's out there flying in the pattern. So you can see where the problem there arises pretty quickly. So you want to make sure that your transponder circuit breaker is pulled. There are some radar systems where the actual radar transmitter will go live if a weight on wheels is triggered. And if that's tied into a pseudo weight on wheels, you're going to want to make sure that you pull the breaker for that as well, just so that we're careful not to be shooting microwaves all around the hangar, that kind of thing. So anything that might be tied into the pseudo weight on wheels out of the IFD, make sure that those breakers are pulled, because when the IFD goes into demo mode, anything connected to it will think it's in the air. Okay, that includes autopilots, EFIS systems, the whole 9 yards. So be aware of it and take precautions. And that's pretty much all I've got time for in this video. By all means, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us in tech support. And I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.